Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Coming at you live on this sunny side summer Thursday. It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. Head to sunnyside.shop or the nearest Sunnyside Cannabis dispensary and use the code HICHGO for 35% off your first order. Bright buys every day, only 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. Cubs scratch and claw, find a way to blow a lead, and then somehow avoid the sweep in San Francisco. A 5-3 win in the series finale against the Giants. Ian Happ, the big star, with the home run in extra innings. Do you feel sort of good, Cody Delmendo? Or are you still... Let me put it this way. Cody will not be doing a beer bat chug. So I know he's not delusional.
No.
He's happy, but he's not going to give him a beer bat chug.
I'm not even happy. I'm just relieved they didn't get swept. Luke, you live bet the game against the Cubs.
I did.
Okay.
And I should have cashed out.
You should have cashed out in my negative mentality. My negative mentality, which is
at
rare.
3-0, I bet the Giants.
Right.
And I could have cashed out.
And even my as an optimist, even I was telling you to do that. So listen, they have a lot of problems, terrible with runners in scoring position again today. They left a ton on base. But they won the game because what happened? They hit the ball over the fence, something that we've been saying they haven't been doing. So I'm not going to be like super negative and complain about all the little things they didn't do because we've been talking about that for weeks. They won the game. Now, can you build off it? Like, this is a huge series in Milwaukee coming up, no matter whether you believe the season is over or not. Like, I said that I will wave the white flag if they reach 10 under, all right? And whether you care or not about making the wild card or win division, being this far back from Milwaukee, all of it is justified. It's all justified. They should be better than this record. The roster is better than what this record is. It should be. Absolutely should be. All their core players have underperformed, as I mentioned last night, and have for weeks. Whatever. You guys can fan however you want to fan. But for me personally, I'm not waving the white flag until they get to 10 under. They're 6 under after winning today. And now it's just like, can it be a building block? Can we get a winning streak going? Can we win multiple games in a row and look like a competent team? Like, because even though they won today, we sat on the couch and legitimately laughed multiple times because of how bad it was.
You did the Joker laugh again.
I did because
times. Became the Joker.
I mean, say a leadoff double in the 8th inning, you don't get him in, right? Like it's the same thing in the 9th inning. Like back-to-back fake rally innings. Thank God Happ hit the ball over the fence.
Do you think the Cubs won because I live bet against them, or because I placed a who you got pick for the first time in 3 weeks, or as Corey Friedman points out, because I had the crumble cookie?
I would say it's because you live bet them.
Probably was the rally crumble cookie.
No, the crumble cookies may have saved the Cubs season.
Perhaps.
No, I think
Jake's going to have to get them every game now.
Yeah. I think, Cody, you put it really well there. It's like you could take a little bit of a breath after that one because they finally stopped the losing streak. Like, you don't feel great about it, but, hey, they won a game, right? Yeah. But, like, the main thing is how do they build on that? How do they take this win and turning it into a win tomorrow in Milwaukee and maybe a third win on, how do they just turn that into where, but we've talked about this multiple, like the last 2 months, like it feels like every time they've gone through a rough patch and got that stop, stop that streak, got that win. We're like, okay, is this going to be the turnaround game? And it hasn't happened yet. So like, you're not confident that this is going to be the turnaround game, especially because they almost blew it multiple times today. But it's just like, I think it's more of like you take a breath, like, oh, like be glad they won a game. But then like, obviously just see if they can figure out how to turn this into a little bit of a good streak because they've just been on such a bad streak, turn it into a good streak of some kind of proportion, 2, 3, 4 wins if you can pull it off, right?
Something to legitimately be happy about. Porter Hodge, friend of the program, Porter Hodge,
Yep.
Luke Little, Tyson Miller, and even Hector Neris. All right. I'm not saying the bullpen's fixed. I'm just saying, like, it was tied after Imanaga came out and it was a tie game. The bullpen came in and kept the game tied. They did their job. And seeing what Hodge did in the 9th inning was incredibly encouraging. And as someone, and I'm not toting my own horn here. However, I did ask to just see him and Luke Little in a little bit more of a high leverage, meaningful inning and see what happens, because that's where the bullpen has been. Like, the bullpen has been so bad that I just would like to see some young guys that you have and see what they can do. Little strikes out the side in the 7th inning, and Hodge in the 10th inning after you take a lead. How many times have we seen this team take a lead and then give it away? Yep. You know what I mean? And Hodge comes out, and I think he gave up a hit, right? Or did he walk someone? But
he gave up a hit.
But he struck out a guy, and then he got he got a fly out and then a pop-up that he tried to catch himself. Thank God David Bodie caught it.
He needs to get out of the way of that ball, but
it was.
He did it the last second. Like, he kind of pulled the glove away at the last second. You can see that, but
thankfully, and he didn't look like he didn't. To me, he didn't look like he was too small for the moment. In my opinion, he wasn't wild. He didn't like walk multiple guys or anything like that. Like, that's been a massive problem, is the walks. So, not saying he's the guy to be in your 9th inning or whatever, but I'm just encouraged to see some of your own homegrown relievers that we've been talking about over the last couple of years get an opportunity in high leverage, big moments, and have some success. So I'm hoping that they build off it. That's probably my biggest takeaway from today's game.
Yeah.
I mean, two of the things that Cody said earlier, Ryan, were like, he was talking about, hey, they finally hit home runs. Actually, they did. We always talk about, hey, do 2 out of 3 or do multiple things well to win a game, because they're always in these 1-run games or tied games. Yes, they blew the 3-run lead, but they got a quality start. So the pitching from Shota was not up to his regular season but good enough. And then you did hit 2 home runs, which when you hit 2 home runs, your numbers and chances of winning go way up.
Home runs are good.
And like you said, the bullpen came through today. So you had at least 3 things come through in this game. And I would like to see something you've been saying now. Hodge and Little, no matter how it plays out, show me more of them in high leverage situations.
Yeah, I mean, Neris, like, I felt like that's like something they needed just to see a clean inning, easy inning. But then, I mean, we've talked about Luke Little and Hodge, and like, as far as they're young guys, they're guys that could have shown that they have potential to be part of this bullpen longer term, like homegrown young guys. But like, the walk rates are just something for me that's just always like, you'd feel so much more comfortable with those down, because those 2 guys had like the 2 highest walk rates on the team in the bullpen all year.
And that's fair.
But like, I mean, it's a smaller sample size for sure. And
other guys have had walk problems too.
Sure,
like Neris has walk problems, so I'd rather have a guy throwing 98 to try and get out of it.
What I'm saying is, like, you feel so much more confident with those 2 guys if they're throwing strikes, because they're throwing strikes, they're filling up the zone, and then that leads to, I said it when we were on the couch, like, that leads to those ball to strike pitch or strike to ball pitches where, you know, balls in the zone, guys thinking they're throwing strikes, and then all of a sudden it a slider slides out of the zone and they're getting chased, right? Like, the whole main point with those 2, I think, and I think Luke Little especially, like, had just been getting the ball in the zone, throwing strikes, letting the batter know, like, I'm going to throw strikes, and then you're going to get chased off that outside of the zone because they're expecting strikes, right? Like, just that's all that I've been wanting to see, especially from these young guys. And like, those 2 guys did a really good job of throwing strikes, keeping them, you know, batters on their toes, mixing up the pitches, but like staying mostly in the zone, unless obviously trying to get a chase pitch. I think Little had some really nasty sliders today.
Pitching Ninja put them up.
So yeah, so that's like a sign you want to see from those 2 guys specifically, is just throw strikes, get in the zone. Neris the same way, honestly. Like, he's at a different spot in his career because he's so much older than those guys, or so much more, you know, has so much more major league experience than those guys. But he's had the problem with keeping the ball in the strike zone, and I think he did a better job of that today. He, you know, clean inning for him. So a lot of these guys is that you just want to see them keep, especially with those two young guys, keep throwing strikes, fill up the zone, because you got, and I said it when Hodge struck out. I don't remember who he struck out with that high and in fastball. I'm like, you're throwing strikes, you're getting him. I think it was a 2-2 count, and I'm like, okay, up and in fastball, because you got the velocity to blow it past him. Like that's what you do if you're throwing strikes, getting yourself into good counts. You can challenge him with a pitch up and in like that in the strike zone. So, yeah, that's my whole point. Is just like, I just want to keep seeing these guys, especially Little and Hodge, throw strikes, because that's just going to lead them to better results.
Yeah.
Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo, and Kevin Wells running the 1s and 2s. Cubs win 5-3. And I felt good for Ian Happ, because we know he's a nice guy, but the last 24 hours were difficult for him, right? Like he gets, I guess you call it, picked off, the double steal, whatever that was last night, and he's kind of looking around like, what just happened? And maybe he carries that over, maybe he doesn't too today. But then the terrible send early in the game.
Yeah, gets thrown out at home.
And he's thrown out by a mile at the plate, and you're like, oh, man, he's got to feel really snake-bitten. And for him to come up in a big situation and give the Cubs, exactly what they needed. Not just a base hit, a home run, a 2-run homer in extra innings, and proves to be the difference in the game. I will say this. Happ is a streaky player. He is also a resilient player. For the people that don't like him, whether you like him, just are okay with him, whatever your feelings are about Ian Happ, man, he can have some tough times, but he will stick with it and give you some resilient moments as well.
Yeah, and he'd also been slumping on in the series with the bat. Hits the home run today, and hopefully it carries over into Milwaukee, which he seems to always love playing teams in the NL Central. So.
Do you lead him off in Milwaukee?
I've been asking for him to be hitting leadoff, for a while, but Nico Horner hit a homer today. I guess I got to lay off the whole why are we playing this guy, why is a fractured hand if he's going to hit a homer at Oracle Park, I guess.
He also hit a ball really hard yesterday.
Yeah.
To end the game.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
I'm not in the clubhouse. I'm not. It's all the reasoning why people are upset about that storyline or whatever is that we've just seen it so many times with other guys, and it leads to not good things. So, but he hit a homer today, and I feel like he has been hitting the ball hard. Like he hit one hard last night. But of all the places for Nico Horner to hit a homer, I would never guessed in San Francisco. And the only way that you would have talked me into it is just by saying that he's from the area, and that's it. But he was. This is what it is, man. Like I said it last night. The core players of this team have severely underperformed. Like Nico Horner hasn't played offensively, at least he hasn't played up to his potential in this first half of the season. Hits a homer today, right? Ian Happ, he's a streaky guy. He started April off good, then went through a really long slump from mid to late April through until the middle to late May, right? So a good long month slump. Since then, he's been pretty consistently good, right? He's helped you win some games, right? But they need these guys that coming in the year we all felt like they can help win this, make the playoffs, win this division, whatever. They need those guys to do this more. It can't just be Ian Happ, and it can't just be Cody Bellinger or Seiya Suzuki doing it all at once. They need the guys in the top 6 of this lineup to find a way, 3 or 4 of them, or at least 3 of them every day to produce. You're not going to get all 6 every single day, but you're going to need at least 3 or 4 of those guys to help produce runs for this team. And it's just been really frustrating because it's been so inconsistent. So, like I said, I don't really feel any different about the team. It's nice to win a game. Good to see Nico get the ball in the air. But I need to see more, man.
Yeah.
I know what Cody was thinking. It's just nice to win one.
It is just
nice to win one.
Kevin Malone, Cody Delmendo.
There you go.
And you know what the Bears used to say? It's time to get Cuddy with it. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Bears legend.
Forgot about that guy.
Get ready to be the most stylish legend in your crew this summer with Cuts. Most guys would wear a T-shirt every day of their lives if they could. The problem is most T-shirts aren't acceptable to wear to work or out on a hot date night. Today's sponsor, Cuts, has finally changed that. Cuts T-shirts are such high quality, wrinkle-free, and buttery soft that you can look like you're dressing up even when you're dressing down. Yeah, you heard me right. Wrinkle-free, baby. You never have to substitute for comfort for fashion ever again. Dive into summer with Cuts. For a limited time, you can save money on Michael Chandler's favorite clothing company by heading to cutsclothing.com. That's C-U-T-S clothing.com, and use the code CHGO for 20% off. Not only has Cuts completely changed the T-shirt game, they have tons of other simple yet sophisticated items. Their bottoms, stretch to fit joggers, look way better than your ugly khakis and are 1,000 times more comfortable. All of their clothing is as comfortable as athleisure. How do you say that?
Athleisure?
Athleisure?
I think it's athleisure.
Yeah, you got it right.
But fashionable enough to wear to work or in your backyard barbecue. And the best cut is that Cuts are clothing built to last. Durable construction, meaning you'll enjoy your favorite shirts and pants for years to come, making them a smart investment for your wardrobe. So embrace the summer state of mind with Cuts. For a limited time, our listeners get 20% off the entire order when you use the code CHGO at checkout. That's 20% off your order at cutsclothing.com with the promo code CHGO. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you and experience the perfect blend of style and comfort with Cuts Clothing. More importantly, and just as important, I shouldn't say more importantly, you got to smell good. When it gets hot like it was the last couple days, Mando, whole body deodorant, and have you smelling great all summer. Mando's array of odor-controlling solutions ensures you'll be fresh from head to toe. The solid stick and invisible cream tube control odor for 72 hours, but you can start to control that odor in the shower with the 4-in-1 cleansing bar and acidified body wash, which helps stop odor even before it starts. Best part is they all fit in your carry-on. All the liquids in the starter pack are under 3.4 ounces, and with deodorant wipes, you can just freshen up on the go in the airplane if you want. Really, all you need is a clean pair of shorts and your Mando, or as I like to call it, go Mando Commando. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, packages, grundle, balls, belly buttons, butt cracks, stinky crevices, stomach folds, and feet. Mando whole body deodorant is powerful enough for the toughest body odor, but gentle enough to use anywhere. You can put Mando on your family jewels without any worry because Mando is aluminum-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and vegan-free. By the way, who wants to put baking soda on their balls? Nobody. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. We have a discount code to help you get hooked on our favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off the starter pack with our exclusive code CHGO. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use the code CHGO at shopmando.com, shopmando, M-A-N-D-O.com. Link in the description below. All I can tell you is it will change your life.
Craig wants to know what a grundle is, Luke.
I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
You said Mando Commando. Should we?
Mando Commando.
What-
I said all you need is your shorts and your Mando.
What about Commando? Commando.
Commando? I like Mando Commando.
All right, no, it's your
All
it's your
that's
ad read.
between
It's
you
your
and the
ad read.
person on the bus next to you is a thin layer of gabardine and your Mando.
There you go. All right, it's your ad read. I'm just giving you
It's not bad. Commando. I
Potential.
like that.
Commando.
Hey, guys. Ian Happ provided the power for today's game presented by Illinois' pork producers. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. Happ clubbing his 10th home run of the season. He also had 2 walks in the game, but obviously the biggest hit in the last 4 days was the 2-run homer.
Yeah.
So
Exactly when you need it, especially when you think about, like, say a ground out to third base, a batter before, so it wasn't even able to move the automatic runner over from second at that point. Yeah, huge. I mean, he had 2 walks earlier in the game too. Like, he's got a 747 OPS. Like, that's solidly above league average. The problem is that they don't have anyone like over 800 right now as far as the starters go. So like that's an issue. You don't have a superstar bat, but when you don't have that, you need guys to be able to come up and come up with clutch hits and big hits, and that's what they've lacked for like 2 months. It's just the big hit, the ability to drive guys in when it's needed. I mean, you think about before Happ's hit, they were 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position today. So it's not like the team overall did a great job of getting those clutch hits or getting those big hits or timely hits. Happ was able to do that in extra innings. I keep wanting to say overtime for some reason today. Was able to do it in extra innings. But it's like that's what they need, but they just still need more of it, right? Like Nico, you mentioned the home runs, like Happ home run, Nico home run. They need more of that. They need more of the timely, the slug, the timely hitting. They need all of that because without that, that's why you're seeing for 2 months now just 1-run game after 1-run game after 2-run game after 1-run game after maybe a 3-run game mixed in there. It's like that's the offense is just not coming through enough to get those blowout wins, or even honestly, they haven't gotten blown out a lot either. So I guess that's one spin zone positive. But back to the main point, like Happ, they needed that big hit because they're not getting it, many of them. Happ coming through with the big home run, not even just driving the run in, hitting that home run. Like that's huge, and they just need that from whoever it is on a day-by-day basis.
Yeah. The whole thing about runners and scoring position and stuff, I guess I've never really decided in my mind. Are guys, what makes a guy a clutch hitter? Is it
mindset?
Is it mindset?
Mindset at the plate is a huge
how
part
much
of it.
How much of it is just the luck of when you get the hits?
That's a big part of it too.
Because baseball is such a game of failure, right? Like you can fail 70% of the time.
I mean, it's what we talked about before. Like hitting with runners in scoring position or with two, like shouldn't be any different than you beating the leadoff hitter and there's no one on base, nobody out. Like the situation shouldn't make it any different, but like guys are human, and you would think like in theory hitting shouldn't be any different regardless of the situation, right? But like guys are human. Like those are pressure packed moments that you feel at the plate.
I heard Horner on the radio this week saying, he's basically talking about he doesn't really do anything different, but he knows that the situation is different.
That's what I'm saying. It's like these guys are human. They understand the differences, even if there shouldn't be, right, in theory, but there are.
I was going to say that, yeah, it's been frustrating watching them with runners in scoring position, but what bothers me the most is how they don't know how to do the little things when they have, for instance, today, Seiya, the leadoff double, I think either in the 7th or the 8th inning. Next guy that comes up, which I think actually was Ian Happ, and I know he hit the home run, they win the game, but Ian Happ comes up, strikes out. And then Morel comes up, and he puts the ball in play, and it moves Seiya to third base. But it's like if Happ puts the ball in play, say he hits it to the right side, in that situation, at the very least, when Happ comes up after Seiya hits that leadoff double, the situation is to hit the ball to the right side, at the very least. And I don't know how many times I've watched Ian Happ hit ground balls to the right side. It's plenty, all right? And that's the stuff that bothers me the most. And that goes back to like the fundamental stuff, whether it's the base running, whether it's, the errors, all that stuff. The just fundamentally hitting the ball to the right side when you get a leadoff double to start an inning, and not being able to do that. If he moves him to third base, you have a guy on third base and less than 2 outs. And then depending on how the Giants will defensively align themselves there, you could hit the ball in the outfield, potentially get a sac fly. Maybe if the defense plays back, if you just put the ball in play on the ground to the right side, you score a run, right? Like they probably play in because it was late innings if that situation were to play out. But the point is just like they don't even do that sometimes. So they need to do that better while also getting some of those big hits. So
that's the stuff that Ryan Sandberg was talking about on Sunday. Like part of being a good teammate, a good professional player is sometimes you get in a situation where you're not up there just swinging for the fences. You've got to move the runner over so that the runner can get in. It's old school baseball, and maybe some of the statistics today and Delmetrics of the world would say it's not necessarily as big as it used to be, but some of it is. When you're playing close games like this,
right?
It is. Like a strikeout is a big deal. If you can just move the guy over and hit it to the right side, You can get them over to third.
It's like what I was saying yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Of like, they don't have, like, and I said this earlier, like, they don't have the superstar bat. They don't have the guy that's going to carry an offense for a week or for a couple series or whatever. They don't have. Well, they haven't had anyone doing that, which means the little things, the situational hitting, all that stuff becomes bigger and it gets more magnified when you fail at it, because you don't have a guy that's just going to go out there and hit 2 home runs in a game or whatever. Like, you don't have that guy that's shown they can carry the offense yet this year, regardless of some of those guys did it last year, haven't really done it this year. So a lot of the small little things, like you're mentioning, Happ striking out in that situation instead of moving the guy over. Like, yeah, hitting's hard, but like, that is what you have to do in that situation.
Well, and whenever you watch this, when we've watched this team, and they're like, I've complained about, they're never going to say it to the media, but like in the clubhouse, like they have to be talking about how they need to do the little things better. That has to be a thing that Craig Counsell was pushing. Even the players have to know this. Like they know that they're a team that has to do all the little things good to survive, to be a competent team, because that's what they did last year. That's why they made it so far into the season with playoff hopes, because of that. And we just haven't seen a lot of it this year. And so, like that, not getting a hit with 2 outs and a guy on and multiple runners on first and second is frustrating, but it won't be the first and it won't be the last, and everyone across the league does that too. What's more frustrating is when you get a leadoff double and then aren't able to get that runner in. I think there was one inning where I want to say it was 2 outs, and I think Nico got a base knock, and then Bush walked, and then Bellinger came up, and he didn't get it done, right? But again, 2 outs, and it all happened with
top 7,
and it all happened with 2 outs. We've seen a lot of that too, and it's just like, can you guys like start the rally before you get to 2 outs, right? Like that's all I'm saying there. But when they've had multiple innings where they start an inning with, whether it's a single or a leadoff double like Saya did, whatever, PCA on Monday getting that leadoff triple and then they not being able to score, and then it basically being the reason that they lost outside of the bullpen giving it away. Like they gotta be better with that stuff, man. That, to me, that's more frustrating than Bellinger grounding out or striking out, whatever happened in that 7th inning after Nico got that 2-out hit followed by the Bush walk. Because getting with all the 2 outs, getting more than 1 or 2 hits it's hard to do, just based off watching these games every single day, Yeah.
And that's a good point, Cody, because think about it. They're not hitting the ball. They had a double-digit hit game again today.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger's on a 9-game hitting streak. Again, this is like his 2nd hitting streak of the year where he's got 9 or 10 in there. They're hitting the ball. It's the timeliness and it's the situational stuff. It's the mindset of hitting, and it's the, hey, I really need to focus on this at-bat and this pitch, and I really need to put it in play here. And it's such a fine line, because if you cross over and you press, you're going to strike out. But if you kind of are lackadaisical and you're going to look at strike 3, that's just as frustrating. It seems like they're doing both of those things right now. They're pressing, and then they're also letting off the gas in a moment to try not to press, and then all of a sudden you're looking at strike 3 right down the middle.
It's a hard balance, especially when I think part of it is just the fact that the offense just has not looked – they've looked bad kind of for a lot of it, and just at best just not consistent for parts of it. For so long, when that's going on for so long, I think that also changes. Like, I feel like when that's happening, and guys have talked about this, that like there are points where guys, you try to be the hero, you try to be the guy to get the big hit because the team needs it. The team hasn't gotten one in a while. Maybe you have, whoever it is, like maybe you have not come through in the same situation.
Why are you looking at me?
Not because you haven't come through in the situation.
Okay,
you lost who you got to. No, I'm just kidding. But like whoever it is, like that hitter comes up again, having not come through earlier in the game in a situation and wants to make up for, right? Like a lot of that, I think, does still stem from the fact that it's just been so long since the offense has looked good consistently that guys may be pressing a little bit. Yeah, what Kevin said, maybe pressing a little bit to try to get the big hits, to be the hero, to get the offense in a better place, more consistent, whatever it is. Like that's part, again, like we say, like in theory, whatever the situation is should not change your approach or change hitting in general. But the guys are human, and they're not robots; they're human, and that's gonna happen. Like there's gonna be a little bit more pressure depending on the situation and the how late the game is and what you've done in that game and whatever it is. Like the pressure comes even if you try not to let it affect you. Like it still can.
Confidence is such a huge thing in professional sports or in any level of sport. I think what might help the Cubs is a good seltz-up in the clubhouse.
You think seltz-up might?
That's what I think. They had a good seltz-up, maybe from Geneva, Illinois.
Yeah.
Guys be a little more confident.
No, I'd have to agree with you on that one because we love Penrose Seltzer over here. Penrose Brewing in Geneva, Illinois. They got the seltz-ups, hard seltzers with real fruit, led by Lemon Seltz Up, a national gold medal winning hard seltzer with real lemons. They created our unique twist on a lemon shake-up with a house-made hard seltzer and pureed lemons for a throwback to warm weather and county fairs. Also available is the Lemon Tea Up, a half-and-half inspired hard seltzer. And just released this year is the Transfusion Seltz-Up, inspired by a popular golf cocktail with grape, ginger, and lime. Penrose Seltzer. Penrose is available at your local beverage retailer or visit Penrose's tap room in Geneva. For more information, go to penrosebrewing.com or follow them on social media at Penrose Brewing. Love Penrose. I'd have to agree with you. Like get a couple of those.
It's a spirit lifter
in the clubhouse fridge, and
yep, confidence
things
lifter, spirit lifter.
Things might change around.
Goes well with Prize Picks.
Oh,
you crack
well,
a little
everything goes
seltz
well
up,
with
open up Prize Picks on your phone, and start winning some money. All right. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. Prize Picks, it's available in more than 30 states, obviously Illinois, but also includes California, Texas, Georgia, and so it's very easy to get on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that they have great promotions. The Sky are playing right now. I have my Prize Picks entry has some Sky players in it right now. Angel Reese, more than rebounds, and I think I took Mabry for less than 3-pointers because she's been on a cold streak.
Oh, okay.
And so that probably means that she will be hot tonight, but a guy can hope. But yeah, you could have done the Chicago Prize Picks entry today. Maybe do Ian Happ to homer and Shota Imanaga to go less than 5.5 hits allowed with the Sky players that I mentioned. And who knows? Maybe you just find yourself doing a lot better than Luke Stuckmeyer did today. All right. Download the app today. Download the app today and use code CHGO for your first deposit matchup to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit matchup to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, Luke, I still can't believe you didn't cash out, man. Oh,
should have cashed out.
Wanted you to. Called it. I told you. You doubled your money.
$50 in my pocket, and I got greedy.
You got greedy.
I mean,
started thinking of all the seltz-ups I could buy.
I definitely influenced. It was
definitely your influence.
You did take Cody's gambling advice.
Cody should probably give me half of that back.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well,
what's your Venmo?
Listen, we sit here and talk about the script every day. We sit here and talk about the script of the Chicago Cubs in the year of our Lord 2024 every day. And we were trying to figure it out today. And today it felt like, we get off to an early lead. And then Imanaga is going to throw a wild pitch, and he's going to allow a hit, and they're going to tie it up. We're going to blow a 3-0 lead. And then there's the bullpen. And then,
see, that's what it was. I know some people are saying you can't bet against the Cubs. Listen, when it comes to money, you got to do what you got to do. And I told you, I said, I know Nearest is coming in, and I'm going to wager that he's not going to. He proved me wrong. I feel good about that.
That's why you have to bet.
Even while I lost.
You have to bet against the Cubs again tomorrow, Luke. That's the rules.
Now, Christopher Morel, I've seen a lot of people in the live YouTube chat, which is the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience. A lot of people saying Morel needs a reset. Morel to the minors. DFA Morel. trade Morel. He was 0 for 5.
Yep.
And I wanted to bring up quickly what Joe Girardi was talking about with Lawrence Holmes and Dan Bernstein today. And it was about Morel. For instance, last night, he walked 3 times, which is no question about it, a positive sign, right? Like the walk rate is way up compared to what it was last year. The chase rate, way down compared to what it was last year. 2 major things that we were looking for going into the season. Now the batting average is also down. And so he admitted that he's been wondering about Morel if he shouldn't be just slightly more aggressive. And he mentioned the fact that he's like, you can see that he's late on the fastball. And he believes he's just slightly late on those fastballs, the ones right down the middle that he knows he should hurt, because he's trying to make sure that he's ready for the slider that he's
reading it, yeah.
That he's reading it correctly, okay? And so you give and take with what you're asking him to how to improve as a player this year. The problem is, like people are saying about Bellinger in the live YouTube chat, is that Bellinger and Morel and Suzuki are really the 3 players, and maybe you put Happ in that group, are really the 3 players that you can look at and say, they can give me some thump. We don't have Aaron Judge. We don't have Kyle Schwarber.
Aaron Judge has 30 home runs.
Yeah.
Ohtani.
They don't have Ohtani, but they do have guys that can give you slug, but they're not really giving you that much slug this year. And Morel is a guy that maybe you would be willing to take a little bit of that. It reminds me of when Schwarber was walking a lot and people were saying, that's great, but we need him to hit home runs. What makes him great is home runs. And he's gone on to Philadelphia, and you're like, yeah, what's making him great is all the bombs he hit. It's wonderful that he has a good eye and he gets some walks, but the team desperately needs him to hit the bombs. This as in Morel. Now, Schwarber can go to Philly, and there's other guys to hit home runs, so maybe he can balance it out. Would you like to see Morel try to be just a little more aggressive, or do you think that would send him deeper into the slump?
It's so hard to say, just because does him being more aggressive,
does it help him go after the cookie fastballs that sometimes you're like, oh,
why didn't you swing at that one?
Why would he let that one go?
Yeah, but does it also hurt him in the sense where he's just swinging more,
chasing the sliders,
and then pitchers then adjust to him, knowing that he's being more aggressive? We can get him to chase a little bit more, right?
I don't know.
It's always going to be that cat and mouse game in baseball, and that's why. So I understand the
question
the
from
notion.
Girardi.
I understand the question, and I understand the point he's making, that maybe being a little bit more aggressive, not letting those early fastballs that are close to a little closer to the heart of the zone go. I get that. I just don't know if, and again, I don't know if there is an answer, right? Until you see it happen, but I don't know if that's being more aggressive. I don't know how that might affect what he has done so well, which is recognizing, the sliders that are breaking out of the zone and taking the walks and not striking out a lot, or as much as obviously he did the previous 2 seasons. He's improved on that stuff so much. Does having him change his approach hurt him in that? And what is the trade-off there? I don't know. That's not an answer on my side.
I don't know that we know the answer. He did point out that, one, obviously you are happy with the walks, but B, it just might be a multi-year thing. It might take time for him to train his mind, no slider. And the more comfortable he gets with that, the faster that reflex time will be to start looking for the fastball and hurt it badly again. So maybe it's just not immediate reward. I think everybody's saying now, well, he's getting the walk. Certainly they're just going to come down the middle. He's going to blast it. Maybe it's not quite that easy in one season.
And it could be the other way of just, the more you face major league pitching, the more you face pitching, you're able to recognize fastball quicker out of hand. So you're able to recognize when something isn't a fastball coming out of the hand, right? So that's the other way, is instead of not necessarily sitting fastball, but sitting fastball, recognizing it, being able to recognize it quicker that it's not a fastball, and then you know it.
Right.
You kind of know what you need to do. And like he's 25. He just turned 25, right?
And we're not just talking home runs. We're talking doubles off the wall. Like, we're just talking extra base hits.
Yeah.
Bigger
Just
hits.
more slug.
So I'm going to use Kyle Schwarber as an example here because the discourse related to Christopher Morel just reminds me so much of everyone who hated Kyle Schwarber and now sits in our YouTube chat and bitches about the Cubs letting him walk for nothing. We remember 2017 after the year after the Cubs won the World Series. People forget that. But he was coming off the ACL injury, and I feel like we as a fan base felt like he was going to take a huge step in being part of the Cubs offense and being a big part of that. And Joe Madden tried leading him off to start the year, and obviously it didn't go well. And just for the sake, because it's the end of June, I looked at his game log in 2017, Kyle Schwarber's game log in 2017 through the end of June. All right, and again, this is not comparing Christopher Morel and Kyle Schwarber. However, the Cubs needed Kyle Schwarber to be what you're describing, and that's what they need Christopher Morel to be, right? The numbers through the end of June for Kyle Schwarber at the end of in June of 2017, at the end of June 2017, he's hitting 171, on base of 295, slugging 378, but he has 12 homers, 31 RBIs. His walk rate's nearly 14%, but he strikes out 29% of his plate appearances. His WRC plus is 78. So he struggled to start the year. It was so bad that he eventually got sent to Iowa. Now, when you look at his rest of the season, he ended up hitting 30 bombs that year. And you just, like, the way that you described Girardi and what he said, like, if he hits 30 home runs and 90 RBIs
he
this year.
said that he might do that this year still, which is good.
Yeah.
He leads the team in home runs and RBIs, all right? I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Just tell me something outside of batting average about Christopher Morel. I understand that, like, you need more production out of him. I said it last night that they need more production out of him. But it's the same shit that I feel like I heard about Kyle Schwarber and everyone that wanted him gone that we're hearing about Christopher Morel. They need him to slug more. He needs to slug more. He needs to produce more, absolutely. But at the same time, he leads the team in home runs and RBIs. I'll say this, related to your question, Luke. As long as the walk rate continues to be where it's been, which is around 12% this year, I don't mind if his K rate goes back up to like 25%. If that means he's a little bit more aggressive and is hitting those fastballs that are in the middle of the plate. Because I agree, he has been missing those. He's been late on them. And when he has hit them, he's been fouling them back. And so I actually find it very interesting what Girardi said about Morel. I just think that anyone who thinks that this guy needs to be sent to Iowa, that the DFA, like that's
more the chat and
that's
Twitter.
Just blasphemy to me. That is just as absolutely ridiculous to me. So I think that you have to continue to ride it out with him because he's so young and he has taken positive steps every year as a hitter. And it's absolutely true. We've literally just mentioned all of those things right here, right now.
There has been progress. That's what Girardi was talking about. And I don't even know if he was talking about long term for Morel. I think everybody would like Morel to just become a complete perfect hitter.
Oh, if he was a superstar,
right?
that'd be great.
Superstar.
Right?
That's that would really help the franchise if he can become that guy. But this might have even been just for a couple weeks to start to see if you can get that slug and make that sacrifice. And what the Cubs are trying to do with getting him to lay off the slider, which he has been doing, and lowering the strikeout rate, they're trying to get him to not be the guy we were comparing him to early on. They don't want his career to go like Javi Baez's career went, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just became all of a sudden way too much chasing, and it was unfixable. So if you can get him to go the other way, maybe there's a happy medium in there where he can be your Schwarber / somebody else, Bryce Harper, whoever you want it to be.
And I just want to say, for anyone confused why I went to Schwarber in 2017, is technically his third year. I know he basically didn't play in all of 2016 because of the ACL injury, but he also came back and played in the biggest World Series in Chicago Cubs history and had massive success. There was a lot of hype behind Kyle Schwarber going into year 3, and it's very similar to how I think we all felt about Christopher Morel coming into this year too, which is year 3 for him. So that's the only reason I went back to 2017. And I'm not trying to compare Christopher Morel to Kyle Schwarber. I think Kyle Schwarber definitely had a lot more hype coming up from the minors than Christopher Morel. I mean, people were calling Kyle Schwarber Babe Ruth.
He was a top 5 pick.
And he was a top 5 pick in the draft and one of the Cubs' top prospects, all this and that. But as far as raw power and how we've seen their careers or seen Schwarber's career progress and seeing how Morel's has started, that's not really far off, in my opinion. Like, Schwarber for sure strikes out a lot more, but if Morel continues to walk the way he does, he will also walk as much as Schwarber does too. So you absolutely need more production out of Morel, but I don't see, as far as what the Cubs need from him, I don't see it being that much different from what they're asking from Schwarber.
Who replaces Morel's production in the lineup as is right now?
Just if you're talking
Juan
about home
Soto
runs and RBI,
next season.
But
there you go.
We joke about that, but seriously, there is no one on the 40-man right now that replaces Morel's value on this team right now. Yes, he's not playing and there's amazing.
There may not be anybody on the 40-man that has the potential to hit as many home runs as he does.
Yeah.
Like everybody else that would have that potential is in the minor leagues, and we don't know if that will translate.
And they're 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to Cody Bellinger in a second, but Ryan's going to tell us about Game Time because I know Cody used Game Time, and they really hooked him up for the Justin Timberlake concert. Excuse me,
nice.
Concerts.
Oh, multiple, right?
Hello, somebody's been winning on Prize Picks.
I learned that freaking Hogue was there this weekend. I wish you would have told me.
He was bringing sexy back too, huh?
Yeah. I had some of the best seats I've ever had at a concert on Saturday, thanks to Game Time.
Wow. He was also bringing sexy back.
And bringing the sexy back.
But if you want to go to concerts or you want to go to MLB games, guys, it's summer. It's summer. Nothing's better in the summer than going and watching a Major League Baseball game, especially at Wrigley Field. I'm there a lot, obviously. I work there. But if you're going to go to a game this summer, if the Cubs can pick things up, you got to go through Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Actually, Sunday, the Ryan Sandberg Statue Day, my parents were there. My parents went to that game, and
King of Elk Grove was there?
The King of Elk Grove was there, and they used Game Time to get those tickets.
He walked in.
He's just waving his hand.
Just the crowd. He never waves to an individual, always the crowd.
Yeah.
Chet Kopic told me that once. Wave to the crowd.
So they use Game Time, and you can too. You know, the Cubs got a homestand coming up. Phillies, I believe, are in town to start the next homestand.
Yeah.
During the week, and you can definitely go on Game Time, find the best deals there on Cubs Phillies tickets at Wrigley Field. I think my favorite part of Game Time is seeing the seat view from whatever seat you're looking at. Whether it's at Wrigley Field you've never been before, whether it's a concert venue you've never been to, like Cody, I don't know if you've been to a concert at the UC before, but I'm sure you haven't sat at every seat there. You don't know every seat view, so I'm sure you would have been able to look at exactly where your seat would be when you bought that ticket. But that's my favorite thing about Game Time is getting the seat view. They also got priority last-minute deals, save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They got the all-in pricing, so you toggle that feature, and it shows you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. The lowest price guarantee or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem that code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Up next, the big road trip to Milwaukee, and Saturday we got that party bus. Still tickets available, by the way, for the CHGO road trip. $99 includes being picked up at one of two spots, either almost home near Wrigley or Circa Sports Illinois in Waukegan, and it includes the booze on the bus all the way up. It includes the tailgate party when we get there. It includes your ticket, and it includes your safe ride home back to one of those 2 spots afterwards. Going to have a good time. Looking forward to it. Justin Steele will be on the mound, correct? Saturday?
Believe
Yeah,
so.
I believe
tomorrow.
Steele Saturday. It's
Steele
Tyone tomorrow, and then
Yep.
Saturday
Tyone
Steele. So we get
Hendricks.
to see Steele hopefully shove against the Brewers. And, we know Braggs is going to be talking a lot of Caleb Williams and a lot of Green Bay sucks chants.
They give us the
a lot
love
of people
column.
are going to get angry. So we're looking forward to that. Hope you'll come along and join us for that. All right, Gary wants to talk, and we're going to for the last 5 minutes of the podcast. Bellinger. So we
Big
mentioned
boss.
Morel, right?
Yeah.
How about Bellinger? Would you like to see Bellinger go back to a little more lift on his swing instead of the 2-strike approach where he's, he is 2 strikes. You're happy he's up there. He gets some base hits. He's unquestionably a good outfielder. But does this team need him to have more slug, as I know Gary would suggest in live YouTube chat? My only thing is, last year he spent the whole year trying to prove that he didn't have to have, that he could be more even, right? His swing could be more even and his game could be more even. It wasn't as much swing and miss. I guess the question is, does this team need him to switch back?
This is how I feel. I understand Bellinger frustration because I have Bellinger frustration. And my Bellinger frustration is he's just not getting enough lift on the ball. Like, he's hitting he's finding holes. He's getting hits, like Kevin mentioned earlier, but he's not getting extra base hits. I mean, we're having the same conversation about Cody Bellinger. We're about to have the same conversation about Cody Bellinger as we just did with Christopher Morel.
Correct.
Basically.
Slightly different reasons, but yes.
But Cody Bellinger completely changed the type of hitter he was to revive his career, because when he was with the Dodgers at the back end, he was one of the worst hitters in baseball. So
now, was that because of injury, or was it because of the type of swing?
I think it's a little bit of both. But I just think for Bellinger, he got to this point because of the type of hitter he became under the Cubs. And I just don't want him to change anything. I want him to continue to do what he does. I would like for him to hit the ball over the fence a little bit more, that's for sure. But I still think that hot streak that we saw last year is coming. I just don't know when. And, I could be wrong on it too, but
Milwaukee would be a good place for it to start.
Milwaukee would be a great place for it to start.
I think he did homer last time they were in Milwaukee. A couple times maybe.
He's just the last person on this team that really we should be complaining about, like, extensively. Because the only thing that you can really complain about is that he's just not slugging. Like, you look at the numbers and you're like, these aren't that bad. But he only has 9 homers and it's almost the end of June. And he doesn't have a lot of extra base hits either.
Yeah, would a 20 home run season be a disappointment, no matter what else he does?
He's got to be some.
Yes.
I think if he's between,
I think it would, just
gotta end up
because
at
of what
least
they
20.
need him to be.
Yeah.
he needs to be somewhere between 25 and 30 by the end of the year.
You want the slug to be up. He's slugging 428 right now.
Yeah. I was talking about the batting average and on base percentage.
I'm talking about slug. I think Bellinger is the guy you want to slug more.
And that's what I said.
Yeah. I'm with that. It's just like, you're paying the guy a lot of money. You're expecting him to be a middle of the order guy. He did have 26 home runs last year. You were hoping to have him slugging. He's just a guy that's a big run producer for you this year, and he's not necessarily doing that because the overall the slugging numbers are just not maybe just high enough, or higher where you were hoping they'd be.
Around baseball.
I mean, the thing with him is like the 2-strike approach is so good. Like, I don't know if it's kind of the same thing when we talked about Morel. Like, I don't know if you want to change that because that could take away something he's really good at and not have the opposite benefit. I'm not saying it's not, but that's a risk. That's just going to be a risk if you're trying to change an approach, especially mid-season. Like, you have a guy that consistently puts the ball in play with 2 strikes, doesn't strike out a lot with 2 strikes, or at least it feels like that. I haven't looked at the stats, but a guy you're pretty confident in a 2-strike count because a 2-strike approach is so good. So yeah, I mean, that's one thing. Is like, I don't know another one where it's like you don't have the answer because until you see it, you just don't really know.
It feels like the Cubs have a lot of guys that fit into this conversation, whether it's Dansby, whether it's Happ, whether it's Morel, Suzuki, and it goes back to the same thing we've been talking about in the question Jed Hoyer was asked fairly recently at Wrigley Field. Can one superstar player really transform a lineup? And the answer is yes. If you have guys like Bellinger and Happ and Dansby and Seiya around Juan Soto, your offense can be very different.
Right.
And it allows some of those guys to also be slightly different players too.
Right. And when I said that that Bellinger should be the last person that we're complaining about, the point is that the team would be significantly worse without him. Significantly. So that's my point on that. Does he need to be better? Yeah. In terms of driving and runs and score and
they could be better if he was slugging a little bit more.
Yeah, they could be better if he was slugging a bit more, but they'd also be significantly worse without him. And I think people who are like, I've read discourse about like people worried about him not opting out. Like you're acting like he's Jason Hayward or something. Like give me a break, bro. Like he can play all over the field and he's been a great addition to this team over the last year and a half, individually, alone. He's been a great addition to this team. I think that he will eventually slug and give you one of those heaters that he did last year. But yeah, there's definitely room for criticism, but it's not like he's an absolute zero in this lineup like Yan Gomes was.
He's slugging. He's slugging higher than Willy Adames right now. Like I was just looking at like who he's near. He's like I think we think of Willy Adames of having a really good year, right?
Yeah. He's having a very good year.
Considering the home runs he's hit against
he might
the
be
Cubs.
the start.
He might be the slug is down around baseball.
And then he's having a really good year in the middle of the Brewers lineup that is they're running away with the Central right now.
Top 5 in home runs, I believe that offense is something like that. And
Bellinger actually has a higher slugging percentage than Adames, and that's not it. Right? That's not all. And I think again, when you don't have some of the bats that the Brewers have, and they're like a William Contreras has been doing really, really well for them. Like you wanted Bellinger, you obviously want Bellinger to be like more than that as far as the slugging goes, because you need a guy like him to be able to produce some runs. But no, I'm just throwing random things out there now at this point. But
Bellinger is a 1-WAR player this year. That's down from where he normally is at this time. I think that's where it is.
It comes down to you want him to overall produce more. You need him to overall produce more for this lineup. That's what he's getting. That's what they brought him back for. That's what they gave him all the money for. They just need him to be a bigger producer for the lineup. But yeah, he's having a solid year. He is. If you look at the numbers, it's a solid year. But I think for what they needed him to be, they need him to be better. They need him to be more than that.
I needed him to be better to win Who You Got today. That's who I took. I came back. I finally made a Who You Got pick, even though I said I wouldn't make a pick until they got to 500, if they get to 500.
And you didn't do it.
He scored a run. He had a hit, but he didn't have a home run.
Did not have the game-winning home run.
Wait a minute.
I got the stats all right here.
Are you telling me
you wrote them down? Wow.
Yeah.
that is the integrity of the game of Who You Got is being kept on scribbled paper now?
Yeah, in pen.
Well, that's the old school way.
You kept it in Notion where you didn't even you deleted it.
Digital copies so everybody could see what was going on. There's no transparency in this. This is like a note you're passing to a girl in the 3rd grade.
You have it in Notion. You could just delete it and type in new numbers. I don't know what you did.
I don't know if I can take this seriously anymore.
No, this is
Look at this.
This is every game in pen, so no erasing.
It's a napkin from a bar he was at 2 nights ago.
Cody and Corey were both here when I did this.
Listen,
he's just sitting there drinking his Blue Moon, scrumming down. I think I won Who You Got this day. I think I won Who You Got that day.
Luke is just mad that I'm destroying the field right now. I won with Happ today.
Like a week.
I won with Happ today. Corey has a 125 winning percentage. Luke has a 222 winning percentage. Brendan's at 241. Cody's at 159, and I'm at 358
What's my win percentage?
I didn't even think your generation knew what paper
250.
was.
250?
250.
I'm 3 out of 10.
But you're not qualified.
Right.
Yeah, 3 out of
What's qualified?
3 for
Half
12.
the games?
3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to happen for me.
You're 3 for 12. Yeah.
Everett's telling me to chill, brah. I believe it's BRUH.
Everett said it's in ink. It's
Bra,
in ink.
bra is what you wear. Bra.
I'll give you
is
the paper.
BRUH.
I'll
What
give you
about
the
the
paper,
bro?
and you can go through every
Bro.
game and tell me I'm wrong on these.
All right.
I personally don't care anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, who
Just
you got?
win games.
Who you
The
got?
integrity
All
of
I
the
got.
game's gone, and the integrity of the team's gone.
Integrity
But
of
they did
what?
win today.
You just want someone to say you know ball? Because I'll say it.
I know ball.
You know ball.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you.
He's never won.
Luke's talking about integrity
His
right
first
now
season.
when he just made up numbers to get me to do
That
this.
can't be proven.
And now he's telling me that I don't have integrity when I sat down for hours doing this.
And scribbled it on a bar napkin.
Yeah. This is a printed
all right,
sheet of paper. Yeah.
Last thing on
That I took from the
Last
printer
thing on
over there.
Bellinger. I think that if he goes on the heater that I think he will eventually go on, not only will people stop with this discourse, but I'm not asking for homers. I'm asking for just extra base hits,
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to close that out on that. And I understand the frustration, and in some ways I kind of hold the same frustrations with a lot of people, but I just think the idea of people thinking like it's such a bad thing if he opts in is so stupid. So whatever. Because if he opts out and then the Cubs don't replace him and we're going to be banking on whoever, I guess, maybe that opens the spot for Owen Casey or
Juan
that's
Soto.
who I would want it to be if we're going to go internal. They're not going to give Juan Soto all that money. I'm not even going to think
Not
about
even
it.
gonna
All
get
right?
there, huh?
But
Juan Soto.
I'm just saying,
Keep the dream alive, Cody.
I could. I dreamed about Ohtani after Luke made me really delusional.
Boy, that would have been a good move too.
But again,
Right?
like,
I mean, it would have been a pretty
you
good
still
move.
have to go through the lumps, the ups and downs of a young hitter with a guy like Owen Casey next year too. So it's not like you can just take Alexander Canario, put him in the lineup, and he's going to produce for you, man. Like he's been given a little bit of. He got an opportunity when Seiya Suzuki got hurt this year, and he didn't do anything. He struck out 40% of his at-bats. So like I don't know, like that Bellinger, yes, needs to be better, but also the team is ridiculously worse without him. So I'm gonna pound that.
If you want to have
on the
these
way
conversations in person with Cody, sign up for the CHGO road trip coming up on Saturday. We'll meet you, and we'll take you to Milwaukee. We'll have a good time, and we'll see you then. Until then, Saturday, excuse me.
If you guys are there tomorrow, say hi. I'll be there. Shoot
I'll
me a
also be
DM
there
on
tomorrow.
Twitter. Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And
you there.
he's going with his Brewers friends, so please come save his life.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'm going to
Please.
recommend
Marquette
that
guy.
the party bus stop at Kopp's Custard, KOPPS, one more time.
Cops
Oh,
Custard.
God,
Thanks
it's
for-
so good.
Right? See?
All this free advertising. for Cops
5-3.
Custard.
Cubs finally win one in San Francisco. Thanks for watching. Until next time, fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.